Chair. Just want to welcome you all in, and I'm delighted to be here to support you all as a TD down from near Bar. Wouldn't be too far from John Ryan. I know I've met you, John, before. I do understand the situation, and I have certainly raised this issue a number of times. Like, I have reiterated my calls for the legislation on the one single agency in terms of the management of the Shannon to be set up. It's my understanding that there's a draft bill or heads of bill prepared. And look, we've all seen how quick legislation can be enacted and implemented when there's a will. It's frustrating me greatly that this bill is still sitting there and not enacted. I do take the point that was made that, look, there's too many agencies involved, as the saying goes, too many cooks spoil the broth, and they all have their own agenda in terms of the water levels, and we've seen that time and time again. And look, I've personally sent emails to many of those agencies. When I was contacted as a representative in the area, I acted immediately. And it is very frustrating to see that we still don't have one single body in charge. We've seen a number of ministers, I believe 2 or 3 years ago, 2 ministers came and literally took a cruise down the Shannon, but they haven't done anything. And I don't think it's good enough. I really don't. And I'd say it as it is, black and white. If they're coming in to talk to people, they understand the issue. Why wasn't there followed through? Why are the heads of bills still there waiting to be published 2 or 3 years later? So I would call those ministers out. I think that certainly, if we can write to the ministers and ask them where that bill is, and if we could get it enacted upon immediately, given the situation we have and the unacceptable situation that many farmers are put in that particular area of the Shannon Callows. I want to also call on, I'm just wondering, would it be possible making a proposal? Can we write to MEPs? I mean, the parties have their own MEPs out there. Can they do something on the Habitats Directive? And can they raise it, or has it been tried before? I don't know, but I think there has to be some sort of push put on here. Something needs to happen. Well, Michael, I held the briefing actually. I held a briefing and I invited you into it. I actually held one here on the nature restoration.
The MEPs voted for the nature restoration now.
Yeah.
So, but Jesus, that's going to flood.
Well, I think the pressure needs to be put on because the local and European elections are coming up, as we all know.
Correct.
Can we make it an issue, and can we all put a push on maybe? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I think something needs to be done.
Well, sorry, did someone say earlier about an emergency situation? You know, a flooding emergency situation, things can change.
No, I spoke there. The definition.
What was that, Mike?
I'll just give you it clear. Yeah. Under the Habitats Directive, an emergency, the definition of it is that it has to be ongoing. Okay. Right? Sorry for talking, but he just asked me what it was. And the problem is that if there's a flood and it goes down, it's not an emergency. Whereas if it's
sorry, I wasn't finished. Look, I've been sitting here for the last hour.
Absolutely, my apologies.
In fairness. Yeah, no, that's fine. My next point is, I suppose, look, at Boardnamona are in receipt of huge money under Just Transition. Can something be done there? Can we actually write to them as I'm not a member of this committee, I'm a member of the Higher Education Committee, but I come in here regularly to represent my constituents. But I would ask also that Boardnamona be written to, and let them come forward with something and maybe cooperate with the communities that are affected in some way, because they are in receipt of huge money in terms of the Just Transition Fund. So I would ask for that. In terms of, do we have any idea of figures on average? Now, I know you've welcomed the scheme, and I do as well. It's a start. It's something that wasn't there before and something that could certainly be built upon. But do we have any idea on average of what would be needed in terms of the losses, say for the average farmer that's affected? If we had some sort of figures, and if you could come back to us with that and say, well, look, we think it should be on average so much, or increase the maximum of hectares, which is capped at the 15 hectares. Or if you could come back with some proposals, and certainly I'd be more than happy to follow through on those and raise them. Look, I'm very supportive. As I said, I have genuinely raised this issue over and over again, and I will continue to do so. And that's what I'm here to do, is represent the people of Offaly.
Thank you, Deputy. Gentleman.
Just on the question in relation to the number of hectares that should be eligible, I think, look at 15 hectares, while it sounds a lot of land or whatever, most farmers would have lost, I would say that would be the average farmer, effectively, 15 hectares. Most farmers would have lost, particularly the full-time farmers, would have lost considerably more. And if that figure could have been brought up, you know, somewhere around 25 hectares even, then you would give everyone an opportunity, perhaps. You know, the payment would be, rather than 4,800, would be somewhere in the region of 6,800, maybe 7,000 euros. And for a farmer that's losing 30 or 40 grand, and that's what farmers are losing. Every farmer down there that's full time is losing at least 30 or 40 grand buying fodder this year and buying meal that he wouldn't have had to buy were he not flooded. But if you're getting 7 grand or 8 grand or whatever, it's much closer to what you're losing than the 4,000 is at the minute. So I think the hectares would be crucial, and the allowance to include grazing land as well as your meadow land. And I think that would be very crucial. And I would also think, in fairness to the farmers, you know, down along the Little Brosna, I don't know whether they're included or not, but I know all the farmers in the Little Brosna, and they're badly affected. The farmers up the Suck, I know an awful lot of them. Not them all, but I know an awful lot of them. Michael, you know that too. But there's a lot of them very badly affected. And I would like to see those people included. There's no question about that. Now, you have pockets of farmers above in County Leitrim and in County Longford as well. And look what, I don't think there should be any differentiation made, because it's been a disastrous year. I've never seen a Shannon flood in the middle of the summer like what we've had this year. We had a serious flood on Patrick's Day. It wasn't gone, as I said, until nearly into the month of June. And it was the first week in June before farmers put their cattle on this land. I mean, it's laughable to think about it. If you were a dairy farmer down in Cork or somewhere, and someone telling you they weren't grazing their land until the first week of June, they'd say, what are you at? But that was the reality that we're in, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have any other choice. And one can say nature is doing this to us. Nature is not doing this to us. Failure by our government is doing this to us. That's what's doing it to us.